Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today with week 76 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it is me, the Lone Vault Wanderer. It's a great day today. Great morning.
Mm-hmm. And you have your good mic.
I know. I'm so sorry to people that I've been using my shitty earbuds when I travel. So, good mic now, Blue Yeti. It's all good with my boom arm and everything.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
So, as you guys have noticed, we took a trip back to the past. We're not using face cams this episode because it's just Lone and I. And when we were trying to turn on the face cams, it was just going to be me. I was trying to get my face, but I couldn't enlarge it at all because Skype decided to put a big advertisement in the middle. So no matter what I did, I could not enlarge the photo or anything. So I was just like, whatever. We'll just go with audio only this episode. Not a big deal since it's only my face. You guys see my face enough. So anyway, hope you guys are looking forward to this week. We have a interesting topic to discuss. But first of all, Noah hasn't been here for a while now. And he should be returning next week. He's been like completely rearranging his work schedule. And so he should be joining us next Friday, finally. So
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Looking forward to that. But nonetheless, we do have plans in the work behind that if Noah can't continue to make it. So just so you guys know, because a lot of people, we don't want to like act sketchy like nothing's happening, but we want to let you guys know that like we do have a backup plan if Noah can't keep making it. Not in a bad way, but just we've been talking to Carrick and we've been saying, hey, if you want to be like a third host while Noah's not here, and since you guys seem to really like it, so we decided that's what we're probably going to do moving forward if Noah can't continue to make it. But that's that, you know, we're not getting rid of Noah. It's more so just that if Noah can't fill in, we want to have a stable host. So,
yeah, having that certainty with three podcast hosts is always better. I mean, I know people enjoy Maddie and I just talking to each other, but for the sake of diversity and variety on the podcast, it's important.
Absolutely. And like I said, you guys are really warm and welcoming to most guests who come on here, and especially Carrick. So we were like, this is the obvious choice. So that's usually what we're going to go with so long as Noah can't make it. And we'll just see what happens in the future. So we just want to keep you guys updated on that. But nonetheless, as always, and the links down below are your iTunes and Google Play links, so you can just go listen on the go mobile devices, all that shit. Timestamps are down there as well if you're listening on your computer, so you want to skip to a certain segment. And as always, we want to get you guys interacting with us, so tweet your answer to the question. I can't fucking speak this past 30 seconds.
It's all right, man.
I've been trying to recover from this broken English that I've been having for this past couple of seconds here. Anyway, each week we want one of you I'm just going to read the script. Each week we want one of you to join us as a guest. To do so, tweet at any of the handles on screen with the hashtag #HamRadioTime with your answer to the following question. That would have been easier if I did that the first time. Pete Hines smacks your girls or guys' ass. What do you do?
You didn't tell me about that.
Because I was looking at a meme.
There and you take it.
Yeah, I was looking at a meme. It was like, this guy smacks your girl's ass. What do you do? I was like, what if Pete Hines did that? Like, yeah, but this week we really don't have any Bethesda news. There was a new, private matches added to Doom.
To Doom, it looks cool. Free updates, yeah.
Yeah, and then there was a new Dishonored 2 gameplay trailer, which Lone made a video on already. I'm making one this week on it because the game's just looking awesome. And I thought that was a great trailer. Although I say it's in the video, but it's kind of like against the canonical ending because Corvo's all low chaos. But yeah, he's brutally chopping heads off. It's like, what the fuck? Why is he?
Fantastic though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I know it's
absolutely.
not canonical.
No, I know. And honestly, it doesn't matter because they're trying to market the game and make it look cool. Like, no one's gonna go, dude, look at all these people I can choke out in a non-lethal fashion. But I just found that interesting and a bit ironic. Regardless, though, we have an interesting topic this week that we've been wanting to talk about. I've actually had it listed on my phone as a video topic solo for a while, but I've never gotten around to doing it. So I guess a podcast topic is just as good. Let's talk about clickbait.
Yes.
This has been a phenomenon on YouTube that anytime a viewer clicks on a video and it's something they don't agree with, for example, they will call it clickbait.
Yeah.
Or if it's like, I don't even know. There's so many ways that people have been called clickbait. I figured we'd make a very interesting discussion here today to clarify to our viewer base what clickbait is.
Yeah, and I think the best place to start is, back in the day on YouTube, what clickbait originally started as, and on a YouTube side, what changes they did to the system to ensure that there wasn't as much clickbait. So if you didn't know, all right, clickbait original, like if you watch back YouTube back in, I guess, before 2010, I would say roughly, clickbait was, boobs on the thumbnail, naked girls on the thumbnail, really misleading titles. So I don't know. Say if Maddie died in a fictional story, I would say Mr. Maddie plays dies, and that so overtly clickbait. That's what clickbait started as on YouTube. And it was so bad that when people would click on a video, even though that video would get a view, they would click off straight away. And that's what caused YouTube to actually change the system to watch time. So it's not just having your money and your revenue determined based on views. Now, if a viewer clicks on a video, but it was misled because of clickbait and then clicks off, then there's no retention time, then there's little watch time, then that person doesn't get paid as much and that video doesn't get promoted as much. So the clickbait problem was actually that bad that YouTube had to react and said, well, views aren't the best determinant of a video success or the revenue that a video should get. So that's how clickbait actually started. Would you agree with me there, Maddie?
Yeah. And, clickbait, I'd say around that time was also like that, like we described, but also it seemed to be the top 10 so-and-so you didn't even know about, something along those lines. And it would be 10 things you were 110% aware about that you could find in a tutorial of a fucking game. And so that was another type of clickbait, which is still to a degree around today. And you couldn't even say that's clickbait because because for everyone it's different, right? So clickbait is always subjective. But here's the thing that people don't get about clickbait is that every YouTuber has to clickbait. We're all friends here, but like we also need to sustain ourselves because on YouTube, the sad truth is that you can fall from relevant to irrelevant in like a week.
Yeah.
You can literally
it's 2 weeks. Yeah. If there's this video on the Game Theories channel where he talks about if you stop making videos for 2 weeks, you're putting your channel in jeopardy. Like literally 2 weeks. It's scary.
Mm-hmm. Or if you build up a viewer base, for example, I built a Bethesda viewer base. If I were to go ahead from here and say, all right, Fallout 4 is done, and I start making videos on JRPGs, I love JRPGs, but if I start doing that, I would kiss my entire viewer base goodbye like that.
Definitely.
They would drop me in a second. So, that's why viewers or YouTubers will clickbait in an innocent way, I'd say we do clickbait in the right way, where we'll say, I'd have to look at some of my videos to tell you the truth, to really determine what exactly I would say was my form of clickbait. I mean, Todd Howard told me, like I've said multiple times on this cast,
I like your clickbait.
Yeah, he's like good clickbait. What I've learned is good clickbait for me is lowercase for whatever, but if it's an important thing in the title, I consider it like almost like I call it highlighting. Is put that word in capital letters. So, for example, all right, Bethesda comments on Fallout New Orleans and the potential of a Fallout spinoff. So I capitalize Fallout New Orleans and Fallout spinoff because I know those are the big things people want to know about, and they'll just see both those and go bang bang. All right, I want to know about that. Click, and that's exactly what the video is about. Though Bethesda was commenting on it, so there's a way to innocently clickbait, and that's when it's called. I don't even try to use the word clickbait. I call it intriguing the viewer.
I mean, at the end of the day, a YouTuber only has so many cards in his hand or her hand to try and get someone to click on a video. There's the thumbnail, and then there's a little bit of that description, and then there's the title. Predominantly, it's the title on the thumbnail.
Yep.
So you can have an interesting thumbnail, with a picture of a video game. That's fine. That's usually okay. So long as you don't have like a naked woman or whatever in your thumbnail, which again, that was traditionally clickbait, then you're fine. It's the title that we also have to really focus on. So we need to make a title that's an intriguing and interesting as possible, so that as many people click on it as is humanly possible. And that's, I don't know why, I don't understand, to be honest, why some people seem to think that that's actually like a bad thing. I mean, the whole point of YouTube, as much as people like to say that it's a passion play, that we do it because we love it, which is completely true, mind you, at the end of the day, at the top of it, YouTube is a business. And even if it's not a business, and even if you don't monetize your videos, it still operates based on views and subscribers. That's the end of the day. So when we create a title, of course we're creating the title so people click on the video. And it's not even like that's the worst kept secret. It's so obvious. That's the entire point of uploading a video that's based predominantly on views, So, when we're creating a title, we want people to click on it. And the yardstick that I always tend to use when I'm creating a title is, so long as it's not misleading, I'll go to bed happily and sleep at night.
Mhm.
If I made misleading titles that when people clicked on a video of mine and it was just nothing what was in the title, it was completely misleading, or I misrepresented a fact or something like that, then I think that that's a bad and a poor form of clickbait. But if it's an interesting title that gets you to click on it, but it's the video's still about the title itself in a way that's not misleading, then I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and I think what you don't know this until you make a video yourself, and I'm not saying that a lot of viewers out there haven't, but I'm just saying that no YouTuber makes a video and says, I don't want people to watch this. We don't make our shit so that people don't click on it. We're not trying to, I dedicate multiple days to recording. So for me, I'm trying to fit that in with a bunch of other shit. So for me, to put it bluntly, I don't want to waste my time. Also, this is my job. I need people to click on this stuff. But that's also why you see a lot of people going to Patreon and then they make Let's Play videos. Because then it doesn't matter about ad revenue. It doesn't matter about your view count because you have that stable income monthly, which is why you're seeing a lot of people go in that direction. Because what people are trying to do is convert this into a stable career where they can take vacations. They can take weekends off. They don't have to be paranoid about video ideas and stuff. They can do these types of things. So that's why you see a lot of, I put this in quotes, clickbait. And that's why you see a lot of Patreons now.
Exactly. And look, I understand why, trust me, I do understand why people don't like clickbait in its traditional sense, and how sometimes the lines are blurred. I mean, at the end of the day, YouTubers are humans and we make mistakes too. And sometimes we'll make a video with a title and think back on it and go, you know what? That was probably a bit misleading, or that was probably a bit too clickbaity. Even the video types that you mentioned, Matty, before about top 5 things that you didn't know. I've done a video like that in the past, and I've titled that in the past, and I'll happily admit that. And then people said, "Hey, Lone, you probably should have titled this top 5 things you might not know."
Yeah,
and I'm like, you know what? That's fair. That's completely fair.
Smallest thing.
It's a subtle down to a question mark and quotes in the title.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's really for me. I'd say probably like originally when I made that video on Danganronpa, like it was called the possibly the best game you've never played, and people were like really pissed because they were like, well, first of all, it was a Japanese game, so like my audience was ready to tear my head off from the first 10 seconds. But despite all my warnings in that video, people were more so mad about the title. They were like, this is, you have to describe what game you might be talking about in this video. And the thumbnail didn't really indicate. And I was like, okay, I'm wrong here. So I wrote Danganronpa is possibly the best game you have never played. And the video still managed to do pretty decently. So it's like those types of things. It's always a learning experience on YouTube.
Of course.
And there's no coincidence that as I scroll through right now, as we're doing this podcast, as I scroll back on my channel, that the videos where I put creative capital letter usage and interesting thumbnails are the ones that do way better.
Yeah.
Whereas the thumbnails where I'll be up at like 2 a.m. grinding out videos, I'll be like, okay, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not trying to sound lazy. I'll be like, okay, this is good enough. This will get the point across, and that video will underperform. It's so important.
Mm-hmm. And it's a balance that is at times, especially if you're doing a really obscure topic, that can be really hard to draw. So again, you've got on one side of the extreme that you want people to click on it, and the other side, you don't want to do a completely misleading or clickbaiting title. Sometimes we'll get that balance wrong. And Maddie has admitted it in the past. I'll admit it in the past, and I'll admit it in the future if I ever do it. Because as he said, it's a learning experience that, we're humans, we make mistakes, and sometimes, we're a bit just wrong, I guess, in that sense. Yeah. But when we create a video title that we truly do believe is not misleading because we're actually talking about what the title is essentially about. For example, today I did a video on BioShock, and it was essentially an interview that Ken Levine did with someone from Rolling Stone about the development behind BioShock 1. And specifically, there was a quote that someone told Ken Levine during the development of BioShock 1. It was a playtester who said, "Sorry, this game is going to be a failure." I took that quote and even in quotation marks, I put it in the title of my video, and I said, BioShock the Collection dash And I used that exact quote in quotation marks. And I genuinely did not believe that that was clickbait because it's exactly what I talked about in the video. It's a form of clickbait because, of course, it's an interesting title and people will click on it.
Wait, Bioshock's a shit. So
Yeah, exactly. And people have clicked on it. And this video is doing better than most of my Bioshock videos straight away. I mean, it's getting as much views in the first day as my Fallout 4 videos do. And that's not a surprise because it's an interesting title that people want to click on. But I didn't believe that it was misleading because it's exactly what I talked about. And it's a direct quote, you know?
And also what people got to remember is that it starts from the top. Whatever the people at the top do, the big channels, we, to a degree, we don't have to follow them, but to a degree, we have to stay in their shadow. And I don't want to say imitate, but you know, they're big for a reason, and if they're positively received, that's also for a reason. And although you'll hear a lot of people, like for example PewDiePie, you'll hear a lot of people go like, "Oh, dude, he sucks," and it's like when I actually watched, I still watch his videos, but like when I watched I watched a bunch of his videos, thought it was hilarious. And I said, you know, I want to try that style of humor. I started doing some Let's Play style videos, trying that type of humor where you're just like roasting yourself, roasting people, whatever. And it was so fucking well received, it wasn't even funny. And it was like, but wait, I thought people hated PewDiePie. No, you know,
well,
so
people don't hate him.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, you listen to that vocal majority or minority, and it gets to your head. But you know what people don't realize until you try YouTube yourself is it's all a science, and it's the finest details are what can make or break you.
And I was going to mention this before, and you've just reminded me. So with a YouTube title, right? I think the amount of words that you could possibly fit into there or characters is about 100 characters, or it's like 70 to 100 characters, something around that line, right? But in reality, we only really have 50 characters to work with, because if you go over 50 or so, your title's actually cut off in most search engines and phones and stuff. So we really only have around 50 characters to describe a video. And at times that can be fucking hard, man. Like genuinely, it can be really, really difficult, especially if you're talking about a number of different things. So I guess all I'm saying is that at times we can get it wrong because we only have a certain amount of characters to work with. We still want to create an intriguing title for people to click on. And I think so long as Maddie doesn't mislead you, so long as I don't mislead you, then we're happy with that. Like I don't want to speak on your behalf, Maddie, but that's my yardstick, you know?
Also, sometimes vague is good, I've noticed with titles, is that sometimes the less you write is the better. You know, people can get a vibe from a video just from how you've written the title. So sometimes I'll just have a really quick, like 3-word title that'll be really short, and people will be like, huh, this is going to be like simplistic, or this could be like deep. What could this be? You know, it's weird. There's just this mental trigger, and it's even with the thumbnails. I've tried a new thumbnail style. I was talking to one of my content managers at Curse about my thumbnails and stuff. He's like, no, you have good thumbnails. He said, you should try this though. I forgot what exactly style he called it, but you know, you put like a faded black box on the side and you fill in some text there, and you use like a light color text for the keywords that you want to have stick out. And every time I do this for a video, the video does better.
That's like that kind of style is how I do my thumbnails, all of them now. I have a consistent style that I always apply with the black fade and then the white text.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah. So
I'm going to send you a screenshot. I'm sorry for the viewers who heard a little click there, but you're going to find this one interesting, Lone. Just keep talking. God. No, just keep talking. You're good.
Alrighty. So this is an interesting discussion, and to be honest, it's a discussion that should be had openly and transparently as possible, right? Because at the end of the day, you know, we're not trying to intentionally mislead anyone. We're trying to get people to click on our videos, and sometimes we get the balance wrong, and that's okay, so long as we take those experiences and improve on them and learn upon them, right? But just highlighting the point, YouTube changed its entire system because of that traditional form of clickbait. That's how clickbait started, and that's definitely not what we're doing. I think conclusively.
I think also what's worth keeping in mind is the black and white approach that a lot of people have, where a lot of people will see one YouTuber do really blatant, really fucked up clickbait, totally mislead their audience. And that logic they'll apply to every other YouTuber, which is I'm not trying to be mean, but that's your own personal problem. You're not, just because one person does it doesn't mean every single person does it. So for example, T. Martin, when he did that whole thing with CSGO, the hidden promotions, for a while, there was a ripple effect on all YouTubers. I even saw it for myself, where a lot of times in the comments when I talked about any other game, people thought I was being paid to say that, and I was just hiding it because T. Martin had been doing it for so long, and Syndicate. And it was just like, no, just because they did it for whatever reasons they had, doesn't mean I did that. No, like I never fucking do that. I need money to eat and stuff, but I'll let you guys know when I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
It's not a secret. That's the thing, though, is that it's also not a secret. If you guys really want to know how YouTubers make their money, it's so, like, it's all out there.
Yeah.
And although a lot of people rely on Social Blade saying like that, they're relative.
Social Blade's bad. Like it's good for views and good for analytics, but that rough estimate of money is so far
it's just
wrong.
Like they said like one time I made like 100,000 a year. I'm like, I fucking wish.
All right, so let's look at this, right? Apparently, from YouTube, at the top end of the threshold, I could possibly earn 12 grand a year. No, I do not earn 12 grand a year from YouTube. I'm so sorry. I earn so much less than that.
I want to hear mine. All
right, I'll quickly search it up right now. You come up as a suggestion, Maddie. I keep an eye on your analytics. Maddie's channel is dying. No, it's not. Apparently you're still earning over 100 grand a year.
Oh my God, I wish. I wish. It's not even close.
Like let me to I guess inform people what Social Blade is basing that on. It gives you a range. So for Maddie's channel, it says that Maddie could be earning anywhere from $6,000 to $100,000 a year.
Such
right?
a range. Oh my God.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, if Skype is like no microphone detected.
No, you're good.
That's really weird. Anyways, so YouTube analytics, the way revenue is based on is a complex formula that we still don't really know. We know roughly what it's based on. We know that it's based on a CPM, so you get a certain amount of money. It's usually $1 to $2 to $3 for every 1,000 views you get. It's also based on a combination of watch time over the session, retention time, all this.
And how many ads you have on the video if it's longer.
Exactly, and what kind of ads and whether people skip the ads.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot. Like I said, it's science. There's so much to it.
Yeah, exactly. So Social Blade is just giving its best guess, right? But no, Maddie's not earning over 100 grand. I'm not earning over 12 grand a year.
It's like you'll have these haters that'll come in after doing like 5 minutes of research on Social Blade on your channel and be like, I was looking at the trends on your channel. You're going downhill. I'm like, you don't see the real time shit I see. Anytime I see someone do that, I respond to them every time. I'm just like, you don't know what you're talking about. I see the analytics. Like you don't know. That's the thing. Like you're going in with baseless speculation on how I'm doing.
And even I screenshotted you that VidStats. Like I use another website called VidStats. So it's VidStats X, and people that were saying, "Oh, Maddie's channel's going downhill," blah blah blah. In the last week, Maddie's got more views than he got in the past 3 months on average. So no, he's not fucking going downhill. Come on, guys, be realistic.
I mean, it's more so just that. I don't care when people say that personally. To me, it's like that negative fire that gets lit under my ass where I'm like, okay, you think I'm dead, but like I'm not. So I'm going to just show you what's good. But some people just want to see that happen. So they'll say that, or they'll base it off one video. They'll come in, the video will be underperforming. Like my BioShock video, that underperformed completely, like 14,000-ish views.
I did a video on Borderlands that got 2,000 views, like only. So, but then other ones that we do that are based on other games and not Fallout do well, But
and what people don't realize is like I have over 1,000 videos on my channel. Just because that wasn't uploaded that day doesn't mean that I'm not receiving, revenue or views or whatever for that video. So like, it's not just what you upload each day that makes you. Most of the time, it's what makes you over like the course of a month. So when I make a video, for those who need to relate, it's kind of what Bethesda says, where they look at their stuff as a long-term plan. When I make a video, I don't look at it how it performs in a day or in a couple of days or a week. I look how it performs in a month.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll randomly get a video that you uploaded 6 months ago, and for some reason, YouTube Analytics has picked it up, and it spikes. And you're just like, why am I getting so many comments on this video I uploaded 6 months ago? And to give you a bit of an example on my side, there are 2 videos that I did, right? It was a Fallout New Vegas mod review, or a mod overhaul, and a Ultra Graphics Fallout 4 mod overhaul. And initially, that New Vegas one was blowing up. It got to 100,000 views. And the Ultra Realistic Graphics one was about 20,000 to 30,000 views. Now, The ultra realistic one is about 200,000 views, and it's overtaken the New Vegas mod overhaul.
Jeez.
Who knows why? Who knows why? But it just does that. And that happens with random videos in the past. Like, for example, I uploaded a Borderlands 3 video, Everything That You Know, that has over 50,000 views now. And in the first week, it definitely didn't have that. Yeah. And it was a spike over time.
Exactly. And the same thing happened with my review for, that's the most recent example I can think of, is my review for No Man's Sky. It was a decent received video. I think within the first day it was 30K. Then after that it was like 1,000 a day, whatever. And then all of a sudden it spiked, and now it's at almost 80K. And it's like, you know, people are still watching it, and it's still one of my most viewed videos of the past month because it just spiked out of nowhere. People were like, I like what these people are saying, or hey, this is really deep, you know, whatever, and they just share it. So, you know, that's why you don't base a video's performance off like a couple of days or whatever. Usually you can get a gist if a video is going to popularize itself or not, but
like usually you can get a bit of a gist, but then sometimes without, you know, you even knowing or being a bit unexpected, a video will just do really well, like a week after it's been uploaded or 2 weeks.
My best example I think for that though is honestly my Elder Scrolls Online video, where it's just like, ESO is not bad. I just made a video simply titled that for my audience, and it has like over 250,000 views, and it's decently well for an ESO video. It's decently well received, so it's like, okay, like, you know, that was just a video for, because like when I make videos, I think of it this way. I think of, okay, this is a video just for my audience. So when I make like a Fallout 4 discussion, I know that my audience is like Fallout based and Elder Scrolls based and just mainly Bethesda. So I know I'm not going to really be bringing in new subs with this type of video. So that's like an audience video. Then you have videos where you branch out. Yeah. You try something new and you're like, this is my expansion type of video.
Exactly.
And those are the videos you want to have do well. So when I see a No Man's Sky review to like 80K, that's really good. Yeah, it's really fucking exciting. So,
and Maddie and I were talking about this before. The channel that or I think as well, that has probably done the best job in terms of the Bethesda and Fallout community in expanding is the Shoddy Cast. Like 100%. They've done so stupidly well that their Overwatch videos are doing better than their storyteller videos on Fallout. I mean, the storyteller video is essentially what made their channel, and now they're doing videos in other games that are doing better than those. Let's
have a round of applause for Austin.
It's Austin, man. Like, if you're listening, you do and this is not dick sucking or anything. He does such an amazing job. I mean, I don't think anyone could have predicted that those kinds of videos would end up doing better than the storyteller ones, and he's just proved everyone wrong. And and I guess the point is, look at the Shoddy Cast. They used to do, you know, a lot of Bethesda games, a lot of Fallout of videos, right? But now they're so varied and also stally.
Yeah, almost. Sorry? I was gonna say almost only, right? Only Bethesda. You know, since we're recapping that conversation, I was saying before that they did. I remember I was subscribed to them since they've had 30,000 subscribers, and it was Kyle and I think Josh was the other guy. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was Josh.
And they did Elder Scrolls Online weekly, and I watched it every week on I think it was Saturdays. They just recapped the news of ESO each week, and then they grew from there. And it's just to watch them evolve from ESO to, I mean, they've always been a lore channel. Don't get me wrong, that was like the foundation. But to like the storyteller, and then you bring on this awesome cast. They did the GNN. A bunch of other things. They experimented and they did it right, where some things didn't work out. I think they actually came out and admitted, they're like, our podcast wasn't that well received or whatever. But they, you know, at least they tried. That's what I'm saying.
You don't know unless you try.
Exactly. And that's how I've personally been approaching my channel, and it's worked out, right? Where I try new things, some will fail, whatever. But I've kind of removed that anxiety because I know now, without the backbone of Fallout 4, it's sink or swim. So I'm going to just
sink or swim. Maddie and I talked about this, right? Beforehand, when Fallout 4 was still the thing, you know, if we experimented and we failed, we would have been like, oh shit, I should have kept it with Fallout 4, right? Now there's no option. Now you can't really stick with Fallout 4 because there's no news. So as Maddie said, either you sink or swim. And we talked about this and we said, look, man, we need to diversify a little bit more, otherwise our channels are going to be fucked. And we have done that. We've been successful. And I think probably at the top of the YouTube chain or the food chain, the best example of someone diversifying and being successful is PewDiePie. He started off with Call of Duty videos.
Really? You know? I didn't know that.
Yeah, like go to his first video, he's doing Call of Duty commentaries. And now look at him. It's so he's a good example. Shoddycast is a good example. So
well, that's the thing, is that for those who are out there trying to grow, this is how you start off. You keep trying till you find some success somewhere. For me, it was I tried for like 4 years, found a little success in Call of Duty, but like it wasn't until Skyrim came out that my channel, when I started Mr. Matty Plays 2 months before that, like grew into something where I had like 20K subs, which is enough of a platform where you have a voice, which in the scheme of things, it's like, no, it's not like that much of a voice, but like it's still a decent voice where you can build off of that. And so for me, after that, even though I knew nothing of what I was doing at this time, but in retrospect, it was smart to build off of Fallout 4 because I started off with the Bethesda audience and I looked forward to the next step. Then Fallout 4 brought me higher. Now I'm at a platform of like 280K plus, where I can now talk about general games, and if another game takes off, I can build off of that. But I'd imagine for me, I'd say I would be shocked if Elder Scrolls 6 wasn't my next like big step. You know, I mean, you can't predict the future, but for me, I don't see another huge step like Fallout 4 was for me until another BGS game.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. I don't know if you feel the same way about yourself.
No, I do. Because I'm in the exact same situation as you. My channel was built off Fallout 4 news, and now I'm doing videos on Dishonored, Bioshock, all these other games, Borderlands, that are doing well now because I've built up an audience that, let's be honest, while a lot of people like to just watch Fallout videos on YouTube, not everyone is like that. So when we build an audience, of course there are going to be people that watch every video. It doesn't really matter what we upload. For me, I have like, I'd say around 1,500 people on my channel that will watch any video that I upload, no matter what it's about. There are some exceptions, but roughly there.
For me, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. No, you keep going.
Well, I was going to say then that, you know, then there's about, I don't know, I guess another 1,500 to 2,000 people that will watch a video if it's interesting enough, even if it's not necessarily about Fallout. And then there's those beyond that will just watch Bethesda or Fallout videos that I upload. And that's really, really good because when you're small and you upload a video, like, say if I was still at 5,000 subs, for example, still doing Fallout 4 videos, and then I tried to experiment, I would get like 100 views on that video.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've always told you this, is that when I was around your size, like I was like only 1,000 a video. Like it was, I had horrible viewer retention when I was your size. So like you have really good retention for your size. And I want to thank, because we share audiences to a degree, I wanted to thank our viewers because they stuck with us. You know, what's good though, what worked out, I think, is that everyone got sick of Fallout 4 at exactly the same time. Where
it was literally
after Nuka World, everyone, like my comments, us, you know, like it wasn't like I was sick of Fallout 4. I've been making Fallout videos, surprisingly, still, you know, but it's just because there's been news, there's been stuff to talk about, but it hasn't been this forced thing upon me where it's actually refreshing to step into a Fallout video or an Elder Scrolls video. You know, where at the same time though, like when Nuka World came out, a lot of people weren't like crazy stoked about it. I think what's weird is that my Automatron in-depth analysis did a lot better than my Nuka World one. And I think that says something. I think it says something about the excitement, where Nuka World was exactly what Fallout fans wanted in terms of DLC, but Automatron wasn't, but yet that in-depth analysis did way better and generated more excitement. Whereas Nuka World was kind of like, all right, you know, another Fallout DLC, let's get this done with. And it was over as fast as it came. Literally didn't even last a week with content with a lot of creators. Kudos to any Bethesda creators out there who are still doing those types of videos, but they don't do as well. For me, a lot of people were like, not even a lot of people, a small amount of people were like, where are your rare guides and stuff? I'm like, I tried like 2 or 3 and they just did horrible. I was like, I'm not gonna tank myself here.
I used to do Fallout 4 weapon guide videos that did really well initially, and then I remember I did one for Automatron, and I was like, it just did okay. So I was like, all right, I'm going to move on from that. And as Matty said, and I think this applies to games generally, eventually attention is going to wane and people are going to lose interest. It doesn't matter what game it is. Minecraft maybe is the exception. But with most games, eventually the audience is going to plateau and then tail off, because we can't, as human beings, we can't watch the same thing over and over and over and over again for years and years, right? Eventually, everyone's going to move on to different things. And us as YouTubers, we need to see those trends and capitalize on it and move on.
That's why you see a lot of channels building off of like future stuff, because you know, they like to look to the next step. I remember the first example I saw of that where it was successful was it was Rev3 Games. GTA 5 came out the day before, and they made a video the next day saying, where's GTA 6 going to take place? And it did really well, and people really liked it. And I was like, okay, I guess people like talking about what's up next, you know?
Plus, Adam Sessler is an amazing man.
That's true too. Yeah, that's true as well.
This is a good talk, man.
Yeah.
Who knew?
No,
we'll talk this long?
because we were deciding about a couple of topics to headline this video. We were like, there's really nothing Bethesda related. I was like, how about, because you mentioned your whole thing about how people were calling clickbait on a video you just posted. And I was like, why don't we just talk about that, and just describe all the ins and outs of YouTube, because I think it's good that the viewer is informed on the intricacies of YouTube, because I don't think you don't get it until either you try it or it's explained to you. And I know
and Maddie and I still don't really get it to its fullest extent. We never will. It's always a learning experience,
Yeah, it's always changing because there's so many different trends, right? So, it's I don't know. I like these types of conversations though.
It was good. It was a good talk.
Because I feel like once you get the viewer on the same wavelength as you, it's a good connection to have.
Definitely.
Where they'll stick with you and stuff, which is important.
Yeah.
Seriously, guys. Once again, thank you for sticking with us, because the transition was terrifying for me, at least.
Oh, it was so terrifying for me. Like trying to experiment and watching videos fail and thinking, oh god, I need to make another Fallout 4 video. I need to keep my viewers engaged and not have any burnt out subscribers. It's just scary, thinking that your channel is just gonna disintegrate.
Yeah, because you put so much time into it.
Yeah, I mean, for the past how many years, Maddie? 3-4 years we've been doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and Maddie probably a bit longer than that. So
yeah, for me it's been since 2011. So things are about to come full circle in a way for me, because Skyrim's coming out again. So
hold on, it's almost your 5-year anniversary then.
It actually just passed.
Fuck, man, that's half a decade. No, half a decade. Yeah,
September 10th. Yeah, it just passed. So
shit.
It's I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and I think I'd say end of 2014, beginning of 2015 is like when I really actually learned about shit on YouTube. And then like this year, I feel like I've learned a bunch. And next year, I'll probably be saying the same exact fucking thing, saying like,
exactly.
Damn, I knew nothing last year.
And then thinking back, like, Maddie, you're a fucking idiot. Like,
you thought you knew trends. Look at you trying to inform the viewer. You know nothing.
That's not clickbait, damn it.
This is clickbait. Should I don't know what I'm gonna do for the thumbnail. Should I just do like a really shitty thumbnail with like a Skyrim mods, like some girl's ass?
No, don't. No, don't. People will hate us. People will hate us for it. We're like that. That would be the most ironic thing to do, given what we talked about thumbnails being.
I thought it would fit. All right, maybe I'll put like a close up of my face, like just a meme face of myself with like clickbait in stamp text, something like really obnoxious.
That's brilliant.
All right. Anything else that we want to...
No, that was a good discussion. And as I touched on before, I think it's good to have these discussions as open as possible.
Yeah, for sure. What you'll notice, ladies and gentlemen, is when you stay closer to an audience, you'll learn if a YouTuber wants to keep you out or into the loop. And we here have no problem letting you guys know what's going on financially, to some degree at least, and view-wise. And
$100,000 for God's sake.
Like I said, I wish I'd be planning out my fucking retirement if I was making that much a year.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's move on to some games. Let's talk about what we're playing in our favorite gaming news bit. You had a bit of a port report for
I did. So I think this is no surprise to anyone, but I've been playing BioShock the Collection. And
I've been thinking to myself this whole week, I hope I can one day feel what you're feeling with KOTOR, where it's like the KOTOR collection.
It'll come out, Maddie.
And they finally, like, I can sit there and be like, yes, my games are returning. I want to know that feeling.
It's great. It's a phenomenal feeling. And I didn't feel this, what was it, several months ago when BioShock news was so dry. Like, there was nothing that was coming out. But, so I was playing BioShock the Collection on PC. It came out like 2 days after the PS4 and Xbox One versions. As far as we know, the PS4, Xbox One versions of the games are running really well. On PC, BioShock Infinite is the same version, so there's nothing really to talk about there. It's more so the original BioShock that is having some issues on the PC, and I'll attest on my playthroughs, I've faced some issues. For me personally, it's been issues that we've seen with the original BioShock on PC. They've crept up in the collection as well, and they seemingly haven't been resolved. Some of the issues that I'll have is micro stutters in audio. So sometimes when I play the original BioShock, for some reason on PC, the background music or like items or something, the audio would just like stop for a second or like a microsecond or whatever, and then it will pick it back up again. And that happens every now and again. It's noticeable. Also, as well, there are some graphical glitches where sometimes I saw these blue and red boxes that just appear out of nowhere, and that happened again in the original Bioshock in a different way. So when you looked at a vending machine that had bright lights on it, sometimes black boxes would appear. Now the black boxes are like red and blue and purplish. So there are some weird glitchy effects that happen, not commonly, but every now and again. And at times I've been facing some frame rate issues too. And then, of course, as well, there are issues with mouse acceleration, but I use a controller, so that hasn't affected me. But I still, even with all that said, my experience has been relatively smooth. Others haven't been. Others have had crashes. Others have had save problems where you try and save a game and the game crashes. But what I will say is that while those issues weren't originally fixed with Bioshock 1 and still haven't been fixed to this day, hopefully, because Bioshock the Collection was just released and is now being marketed as a full-price game when you consider the entire collection, hopefully those issues will be resolved now with that added focus on the game. I don't know, I can't make that promise at all, but I'm thinking that the chances are much more likely than they were before. But there have been issues on PC, I can't deny that. But still, my experience has been relatively smooth. So that's probably all I really need to say on Bioshock.
Yeah, I haven't played on, what's it called? I haven't played on PC. So I've only had it on PS4. I was telling you, I haven't even had a chance to play it because, what's it called? I played a little bit of it, but it's just that it took so long to download. I got
60 gig?
Yeah, I got review code. I'm like, all right, I'll pop this sucker in. It's like 11 at night. I got class tomorrow, but I'll just leave it downloaded. Go take a shower, whatever. And I come back and it's like, 60 gigs, like 2 hours left. I'm like, yeah, fuck you. Now I'm going to bed. Like, I'll keep downloading this over time. And I on my PS4, I'm usually playing online games with my friends. So like when I'm online, I need my internet, so I can't download these games in the background. So it's been a process trying to get the games running, and I finally did. And I started off Bioshock 1 and just beautiful.
I know,
it's a great time.
Game. It's a phenomenal game. And I'll say this, if you're on PC and you're complaining about a free upgrade, then just settle down. But if you have purchased a brand new and you are facing these issues, then I do feel for you, especially if your game is crashing. And I was reading some Steam reviews. A lot of them are negative. A lot of them are just, people just yelling and stuff. I like negative reviews that are fair and balanced and to say, here's what's wrong, blah, 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 blah. Everything else is fine. Thank you. Those are the helpful reviews I like to read. So
yeah. But the worst is when they have more pros than cons and they still list the negative. It's like now you're hurting them. You're adding to that percentage.
Apparently it's like there was one guy, all caps, it's a piece of trash. Why would you ever buy this? Da, da, da. I'm just like, come on. It's nothing like that. There are issues, and I've admitted them too. But anyway.
Because people think like, I feel like to some degree, people think like, oh, I'm just one person, what's going to matter? But there are multiple of that, and it'll add up to the point where your voice will be heard.
Yeah,
and some people don't seem to get that. Like, to a degree, some people are so lucky to grow up during this era of gaming where you literally have direct connection to the game developer for feedback. Back then, I'm not sounding like we're old, but back then, like PS2, Xbox, game just showed up on the shelves, you pick it up. You got the magazine preview, that's about it. Now, it's like Twitter, like day-by-day updates. You got channels dedicated to those moment-to-moment updates. There's just so much news and information that you can fully inform yourself. And that everyone has a voice. So, yeah.
Exactly.
But anyway, my favorite news that I wanted to talk about, I want to talk about Metal Gear Survive. I'm not like a big Metal Gear fan personally. I've played Metal Gear 2, 3, 4, 5, Ground Zeroes, and that's it. I was going to play Peace Walker on the HD collection.
That's a fair bit of Metal Gear.
Yeah, that's like, I was going to say, for the amount of fucking entries in this series, I'd say that's a decent amount.
Yeah.
I'm not a giant fan of it, though, like, super fan like some people are. But I do enjoy the series. And so when Survive was announced, I was curious. And they didn't really show any gameplay with it. People hated it because it was like a zombie game, is what they're calling it. And they're saying, like, yeah, Konami fucked it up naturally. They're just milking this series for all it's worth. But then, for those who don't know, and I'm sure most of our audience doesn't because they don't like Japanese games and anything to do with, like, the video game industry in Japan. But the Tokyo Game Show was this week. And so there was actually some gameplay shown for Metal Gear Survive. And I was curious. Young, actually uploaded it when I saw it, and so I looked at his channel because he's like a big Metal Gear guy alongside other game news. And I was like, what it looked like to me was actually, it looks like it would be fun with friends. It looks pretty stealth focused, although people have said otherwise. It does look stealth focused, but it's like open world co-op. I was like, that's not too bad. But I understand where the complaints are coming from. It's really not Metal Gear, but still, like, if you're not, what this game is going to do is if you're not a Metal Gear super fan, if you're like me, you just like Metal Gear, like you're cool with it, you'll probably enjoy the game, I think, regardless of Konami and stuff. But I feel like if you're a super fan, you're going to hate it no matter what, especially because what they did with Kojima. But I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to go soft here, but I'm just saying, like, if you look at it with you just give it a fair look, it does look like not too bad just from the gameplay. Who knows if the actual full product will be good? But I don't know if you've seen any gameplay on it. It's just it looks like
I haven't because I'm not really a Metal Gear fan, to be honest.
It looks like Metal Gear 5 online though. It's strange.
Yeah, and what my best guess is that people are just not liking it because one, it's not Metal Gear really, and two is because of the Konami hate thing. So, but I can't really comment on it. If the next Bioshock game was a zombie survival, then I'd probably be upset too, to be honest.
That's why I'm like, I get entirely where they're coming from. Just as like a game standpoint though, like looking at it, like, okay, can I have fun with this? Like, yeah, you could probably have fun with it. It doesn't look like a terrible game. It's definitely graphically attractive. It's using the Fox engine again. So it looks really good. But I just wanted to briefly talk on that because I think that game will be interesting when it drops. I'm very curious to see what gamers are going to say about that. I think that'll be the discussion on that will be awesome, I think, because there's going to be a lot of passion. There's going to be a lot of anger. It's going to be really funny. It really is because, you're going to have like the super fans, you're going to have the new fans, you're going to have like the people who are like, oh, whatever.
Like just sitting back with popcorn watching.
Yeah, exactly. And just every day it's going to be just people fucking thrashing in the comments. As for what I'm playing this week, I'm playing NHL 17.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, of course, Overwatch. It's like every week. But I have been...
How do people not think Overwatch is a good game?
Okay, well, here's the thing. I've learned that this probably should have been tossed into the conversation when we were having like a whole YouTube science discussion, but the silent majority is so easy to spot if you really look for them. For example, I'll post a tweet saying like how good Overwatch is. It'll get like 200 likes, but I'll have like 10 responses saying like, you're full of shit. That's a fucking bad game, dude. And because they're writing to me, it'll stick out that, wow, 10 people said to him, that's a bad game, dude. They're telling him he must be wrong. But then you see 200 people who liked it were like, fuck yeah, it's a good game. And just like moved on with their day. Because I put myself in my shoes. If I'm scrolling by, I like Overwatch, I'll just hit like and keep going, right? Because I agree with it. And so that's how I view it. So it's like Overwatch is one of the few games I've seen that is very popular and also has a very great community surrounding it where like the haters are just completely outnumbered. And are just shut out for the most part. And that's why it's such a joy to play. It's a great community. I don't really have any bad experiences when I'm like just solo queuing. It's just it's everything about it is so good. It's such a
balanced game. And I told Maddie this before. Overwatch is a game that started to get me back into competitive multiplayer because for a while after my Call of Duty kick, I just never really played competitive multiplayer. But Overwatch, it's just so much fun. It really is.
Have you played Team Fortress 2?
No.
Okay, that's like the argument I've been getting lately. It's like, yeah, it's a fucking Team Fortress 2 ripoff. I'm like, I've tried TF2 and I fucking hated it. So
I just don't like those arguments because every game is a ripoff of another game. That's how development works. I mean, people are influenced by games they played as a kid and they want to create similar games. How is that so hard to understand?
That is very true.
God's sake.
Yeah, but as for those who care about NHL, I'd imagine if you're interested in the NHL at all, you've probably bought it already. But regardless, I figure I'd talk about it anyway. As someone who has seen the series go downhill, this is actually a step up, which is really cool to see, where it's kind of on the same level as FIFA now. It's getting that same type of attention and treatment. I think that's because in the States, hockey is becoming a really popular sport now. It's becoming ridiculously popular, which is awesome. Back then, it was not popular. People would like not really know what hockey is at times. I'm talking way back in like the 70s and 80s and stuff. So it's cool to see the sport that I love playing and stuff get this type of attention. And so now the video game version is actually getting some good focus, where a lot of the online focus, like for me, I play a lot of the EA Sports Hockey League mode, which is this create your own online pro, and then all your friends join your team, and then you play as a team online and rise in the division and unlock new stuff for your arena and new stuff for your team and customize jerseys and stuff. They put a lot of customization in that. They add new roles to that mode. It's such a good mode. They did such a great job flushing that out, where as you level up, you're getting new celebrations, new things to put on your character. Kind of like, for those of you who play FIFA, how you get new cleats, new shorts, new hairstyles, all that stuff. You get that in NHL now, finally. And I've been saying since FIFA 13 that they should do this with NHL. They finally did it, like 4 or 5 years later now. So that was awesome. They added a bunch of new modes as well. They improved on modes such as franchise, where you can actually like make your own franchise in the sense of like listing ticket prices and setting special nights like bobblehead night, for example. So it's really deep in that way. And it's really fun and kind of cutesy in that way. So if you're an NHL fan, yeah, that game's it's very good. I
know also, everyone, like especially during the EA E3. I say E3, but it wasn't E3. The EA Play conference. Whenever people talk about sports games, everyone's just like, "Oh," just takes a sigh. Like sports games are so boring. But there's a huge contingent out there that love sports games. Like I love FIFA, for example. It's each to their own.
I don't want to sound closed-minded. I don't feel like sports games have a place at E3. That's just me, though. I don't feel they do, because I feel like the audience for sports games buys the games based off the sport they enjoy watching on TV or playing. So if they like basketball, they'll pick up a basketball game.
It wouldn't surprise me, though, that there are people that watch E3 just to see what's in the next FIFA or what's in the next NBA game, you know?
Probably. I'm not saying there isn't, but just for me, I look at it from the perspective of, I'm not saying this applies to everyone, but for me and anyone else, when I learned about a sports game, is because someone who played sports showed me. My brother showed me NHL, and then I really liked that, and I actually started playing hockey because of it. I was like, fuck yeah. So and that's what happened to my friends. I got into NHL, and they were like, yo, hockey's dope. And so, like, they got into it, and it was just, it kind of was a chain reaction like that. And I've seen that happen to everyone, where it's just, that's how sports usually works, is that someone's athletic, someone plays it, and they show you it. And, you have fun learning it. And I think the same thing happens with video games. But I just don't see people like tuning into E3 to see the new FIFA trailer.
Well, let's be honest though. You're right in the sense that the main people that buy FIFA or that buy a Madden or NHL or whatever aren't necessarily hardcore gamers. They're more casual. Like people that I know that play FIFA all the time, and that's only really the games that they play, are like friends of mine that aren't really like hardcore gamers. They'll play a Call of Duty, they'll play a Battlefield, they'll play a FIFA, and that's about it.
Yeah, but anyway, that's what I've been playing this week. Just flipping between Overwatch and NHL, just chilling, because that's what I've been doing is just, I don't want to call them gap games, but like I'm just kind of filling in the gaps in between these reviews.
Fair enough.
Because I'm trying to like review every game this fall, and it's going to be a pain in the ass, but I think it's going to be worth it.
What's your next game that you have to review?
It should be Forza Horizon 3.
It's got Australian cars in it. It's great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't reviewed a racing game before, and I haven't played one since The Crew, so it'll be interesting.
I've told the story before, but I actually, I didn't start, but predominantly during my teen years, I used to exclusively only play racing games. I wouldn't play any other games. So Need for Speed, games like Forza, etc. Like, what's it called? Most Wanted and Midnight Club, like from Rockstar. Those games were my shit, man. I used to only play racing games. So I've been waiting for a Need for Speed game to get me back into things.
Burnout for me. I used to love Burnout, dude.
Game.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at the upcoming game list on GameStop right now. I know they only feature like the big games, but like I'm looking at, for me, my review list goals are like Forza Horizon 3. Then after that is Mafia 3. After that, maybe WWE. I know we want to make some videos on that, bro.
Oh, we need to.
Dude, we got to get the community together. They have to get in on that.
We've got to do like... I got the best idea. Do you know how WWE Royal Rumbles, right? How you have like surprise entrance and shit? We should have it. So it's just like two people, like me and you start off, and then every however many minutes, a surprise YouTuber enters the arena, and then their voice suddenly pops up in the video. That would be awesome.
That's such a good idea. See, like, oh man, this is why we're diversifying people. It's gonna be funny.
Wait, that's a great idea. We need to do that.
Yeah, but so for me, like, that's also on my list. Gears 4 is on my list. Battlefield 1,
Definitely.
Civ 6,
Titanfall.
Yep. Xenoverse 2, Skyrim, Dishonored 2, Watch Dogs 2, Pokemon, Final Fantasy, Last Guardian, Dead Rising, Steep.
There's so many games.
Right? Yeah, and these are all within... Okay. Battlefield 1 is 10/18/2016. I'm probably honestly not going to get a review copy of that game because I know we talked about this before the cast alone, but I'm pretty convinced after my Battlefront review that EA just doesn't like me. They have not responded to an email or anything. I've said this openly on Carrick's show before. Like, yeah, they just... I've DM'd the community manager before. Just nothing. Just nothing. It sucks, but I'm like, okay. You know, if you can't... I'm not saying this is the truth, but... If it is that because I negatively reviewed their game that they have cut me off, that is just sad. I don't get why someone would do that. Return to Arkham's coming out too. Oh.
So Maddie and I literally after this podcast we're going to record like a 10-minute video on remasters. So that'll be up on my channel. And Red Dead, Batman Arkham, BioShock, the Assassin's Creed collection. There are so many remasters. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I like Batman. I have been wanting to play Arkham Asylum for a while. So, that's really tempting. Oh, and then there's PSVR as well. Oh my God, fuck.
Are you getting that?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I've tried it.
I really want to play. Yeah, I tried it as well. I tried that. Remember, I told you about it that I came out of the Warner Brothers booth and I DM'd you. I was just like, dude, like I just played the fucking like best game ever. It was the Arkham VR game.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
I mean, I've yet to play like a AAA game like that. The one that I did was more of a demo, like where you are submerged in a shark tank into the water, and then a shark attacks your shield or whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah, but it to be honest, it didn't look that great. It was okay. After looking at really high quality, high fidelity PC gaming for a while, when you chuck that right up into your eyes in the PS4, it's really pixelated.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. I'm looking at the beginning of next year too. What the fuck? Resident Evil 7, January, the end of January. Beginning of February is For Honor. Then same day is Persona 5, which, yes. After that, a week later, Halo Wars 2. Then after that, a week later, Horizon Zero Dawn. Then I think a week after that is Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. A couple weeks later, Days Gone. Same day as Days Gone is Tekken 7. Same day as that is South Park, Fractured Butthole. That's all.
Oh, that got delayed, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But fuck. Yeah,
so many games.
I know. But I'm glad. It keeps us busy. Keeps things going forward.
Definitely. I agree.
So let's roll into this week's viewer questions. We tried Sugar Bomb last week. No one really hopped on and asked any questions. So I was like, all right, fuck it. We're gonna go back to Twitter.
Go back to Twitter.
Yeah. So the first question comes from @Landon9119 or 1119. Sorry. What PS3 or 360 games would you like to be remastered? We both prepared our answers for these.
We did. And mine is interesting because it's getting a remaster, sort of. So I'm going to say the original Assassin's Creed. Now, Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood and Revelations are getting a remaster, in a combined pack, similar to the BioShock the Collection.
What's funny is didn't they do that for the 360 and PS3? They did an Ezio collection? Yeah, okay. I thought so.
They did. It wasn't remastered, I don't think. It was just like a combined pack.
Yeah, it was a literal collection. Yeah.
Yeah, but now they're releasing a remaster of that. However, I would like to see the original Assassin's Creed get some more love because it was the first game in the franchise. It definitely had issues. Like I think the Metacritic score is like on 70 or something, and I think that's deserved because it did have some problems and it wasn't as good as Assassin's Creed 2. But I'd hope that it'd get some more love because that's where the franchise really began. But it seems like it's just like been pushed aside, like your retarded, adopted cousin or something.
Oh my God!
Like really though, like, it's bad.
My...
You can probably bleep that out, by the way.
Oh my God. Anyway, For
It's
me.
just sorry. It is going to be like just like bleep, and then Maddie's going to be laughing.
Anyway, whoa, God, what was I? Oh yeah, my game I thought I would remaster for that era would be Rage. I think
Yes.
Rage is a game that has aged well. I know the ending of the story was it wasn't that good because there was a lot of build up and then it was just a cutscene. But still, I think Rage remastered would be enough where people would play it. They'd be like, all right, this game's good, make another. And what I've noticed is in a couple sporadic interviews, people have asked Pete Hines, is there going to be another Rage? And he's commented saying anything's possible.
And a typical Pete Hines answer.
Yeah, anything's possible. And I'm just like, oh my God, like just say yes.
For once.
Just say yes.
That
just like when he was asked about the Fallout spinoff. He's like, well, we're having someone handle Quake. That's a pretty important franchise. And he's like, what about Fallout? He's like, well,
because the question was like, oh, are you going to be working with a third party person or a body to work on the next Fallout game? And Pete Hines was like, yeah, well, we're working with this company for Quake, so blah blah blah. Like, Pete, just tell us. Stop.
He's like just saying, yeah. So I mean, we're working on this really important and old school franchise within another company. So don't you think we do that with Fallout? I think that's what he's trying to say at least, but I don't know. Oh my God. Regardless, I think Rage would do pretty well nowadays. I think it would go well with today's crowd. It's not that old where if you guys want to go back, if you have it on PC, the port looks amazing. Very great looking game. Some really unique weapons, cool story and universe. Starts off, if you want some intrigue, starts off just like Fallout 4, dude. You wake up from cryo sleep.
It does.
So, if you want some intrigue there,
in the arc,
get some of you Fallout 4 suckers out there.
And then it ends on such a letdown, though. I know. That's the only thing about the game that annoys me, and that annoyed me with the original Borderlands as well. It's like you're looking for this ultimate vault with all these treasures, and you fight the final boss, and then that's it.
Yep.
You don't even get to see the vault.
Yeah.
For God's sake.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But then Borderlands 2 was just like,
so much better. That's the thing, though, with new IPs. Look at new IPs and look at how the first games always underperform, and then the second games do well. Watch Dogs, the
someone
first game
said on my Record review. They were like, it seems like nowadays it's the second entry that gets everything right. It's like the first one's an experiment, and the second one's just like boom. Unless you're Naughty Dog, because with The Last of Us, they fucking killed it the first time out.
Oh, they killed it. And like, I'll say it again because I keep bringing it up. BioShock, right? I mean, that was the first game in the franchise that initially publishers didn't want to even sell until Ken Levine got a feature on a Games News website.
Obviously, there's been new IPs that have done really well. I'd say, an example from, this isn't recent, but like Pillars of Eternity from Obsidian did really well in both sales and reception. So there's also that.
Have a think about it, right? So even if we consider Elder Scrolls Online to be a first IP, because it kind of is. It's Elder Scrolls, but just their first MMO. Look at how it started and look at how it is now. That kind of improvement is similar to what you'd find in a game going from its first game to its second game.
I don't think anyone could have predicted that with Elder Scrolls Online. I seriously don't, because that game was awful on launch, and now it's good. Yeah.
And the original Assassin's Creed, the original Borderlands, Watch Dogs, I'm sure the second one's going to be good. The original Titanfall is going to get improved. There are so many games that start off kind of mediocre and then improve because there's potential there. And I'm hoping that Rage can be one of those titles,
Yeah, no, for sure. Because Rage had a great foundation. That's the thing.
It did. The world was really interesting. The weapons were so much fun,
Yeah. Oh, my God, my voice is shattered. But yeah, the shooting and stuff was great. So I think
all popular games franchises have to start somewhere, and they usually start with a flop or a mediocre game.
A flop. Ratchet 570 asks, what do you prefer, Digimon or Pokemon? I thought this is an interesting question because although I could probably answer for both of us, Digimon's actually been on the rise.
It has.
I've noticed
it's getting a new game too.
Yeah, and Cyber Sleuth, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Recently released from Japan over on the PS4, 3, and Vita, I believe. And it's been really well received to the point where I've actually considered playing it, even though I've never really watched Digimon that much.
I used to love, obviously our answer is Pokemon, but I definitely used to love Digimon as well. I mean, I think everyone used those Digimon Tamagotchi devices back in the day, at least when I was a kid.
Oh, I used to just have an original Tamagotchi, bro.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, I had the original, and then we all moved on to Digimon, and we were playing that. And then, I love the anime too. I never really got into like if there were handheld games. I don't think I ever got into those, but the anime and those Tamagotchi devices, those were awesome. But obviously, my answer is going to be Pokemon in terms of priority.
Speaking of anime, to my Danganronpa fans out there, all like 3 of you listening to this, if you have not watched Danganronpa 3 Despair Arc anime on Kiss Anime, what are you doing? If you played the games, fucking watch them. Oh my god, it's so good. All right, go on.
No, it's fine. I'm going to say something similar. To all you Dragon Ball Z fans that thought Dragon Ball Super started off shit with the animation, which it kind of did, get back into it because it's getting really good. Anyways, we've had our weeb moment.
Yes, yeah. I see you embracing it, dude. You're posting like Pokemon shit. I mean,
dude, let me tell you something, all right? Pokemon anime in Japanese shits on the English dub. Like, absolutely takes a huge dump on its chest. It's so much better. It sounds so much more epic. Like, I want to send you a comparison video, right, Maddie? And you'll agree with me. Trust me on this. No,
I know I will. Because, okay, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. While we're having this discussion, I wanted to say this. Is that if Japanese games and anime isn't for you, you've tried it, you don't like it, that's your opinion. That's okay. But... But, if you refuse to try something for the reason of because it's for weebs,
because it's a Japanese game,
because you're Noah basically, because it's Japanese, because you can't bring yourself down to that level, I put that in quotes, to play this game or watch this anime, you are depriving yourself of a good experience. And honestly, you're a closed-minded piece of shit. That's how I view you.
How many of the cartoons that we watched as children that were, of Japanese origin? Pokemon is the biggest example, right? And then people are like, nah.
The worst is the best feeling is anytime I'm sitting there and someone's like, I hate anime. I look at them, I'm like, do you like Pokemon? They're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool.
All right, so you like Japanese anime, yeah?
Yeah, I'm like, cool. So, well, it's Pokemon. So it's popular, so it's okay. Is what you're trying to tell me right now.
You sheep?
Yeah, you sheep. Fuck you, bro. My God.
I'll give a story as well. I mean, I grew up watching the English dub of Dragon Ball, and every time I used to hear the Japanese voice of Goku, which if you didn't know is voiced by an old lady, I'm not joking. I used to think that Goku sounded fucking terrible, like sounded like this old woman. But then as I'm watching Dragon Ball Super, I'm getting used to Goku's voice in Japanese. I'm finding it funny, and I get why Goku is voiced by that lady because she's awesome. She does such a good job, and she even voices Trunks and Gohan. It's fucking. Oh, no, sorry. I think Gohan.
The reason why some people are like, oh, I'll just wait for the dub to come out, which is the English voice actors covering it. Number one, you're going to be waiting like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it takes ages.
Yeah. Other thing is that subs, although I know some people don't like listening to Japanese, they're like, I want to watch the show, not read the text. Number one, I feel like way more engaged when I'm reading the subtitles of a show. Because I'm usually like doing both at the same time. It's not too hard if you can read, you got here by reading. So I'm going to imagine you can do that. But the Japanese voice actors capture the emotion so well. Yeah. It's just like you feel it in your chest sometimes when they're like screaming or something. A good example, I've always said the best starter anime for anyone is Attack on Titan. Like that's a great anime to start watching anime on because it's an epic storyline. It's got really great moments and it's just emotional, but it's also like action packed. I think it's for anyone.
And to be honest, like Japanese is such an emotive language. Like when they talk, you can just feel their emotions.
Yeah.
Especially when they're like angry or something. It just sounds so epic. It comes across so well in anime, and that's why I love the Pokemon anime in Japanese now. Ash doesn't sound like a complete tool.
I know. I'll stop. I did stop myself at one point though because I was in the mood for dumplings. I was like, all right, I'll get dumplings. I'll come home and I'll watch Danganronpa. And I stopped myself. I'm like, no, I'm ordering pizza. I said, I'm not gonna sit in my room eating dumplings and watching Japanese anime. I'm like, that might be a step in the
sushi is amazing. And how good does anime food look? Oh,
I know, dude. When in an anime when they're like eating, the sounds they make. they make the food sound so good. They're like, hum, hum,
They make
hum.
food look like so like hop, hop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just watching episodes of Dragon Ball Super and they're eating ramen. It looks like the best shit ever. I'm
Yeah.
like, I could really go for some ramen right now.
Oh my god, I was thinking that earlier. It's every time hop hop like that. I'm just like, oh, that sounds so
Every
good.
time Goku eats like a ton of food, it's just so funny.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I thought I was the only one, dude. Okay.
No. Remember back in Pokemon where they used to eat those things and in the English dub they call them donuts, but they're actually rice balls?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. This is the Weeb Corner with
Yeah.
Maddie and Lone.
Yeah, we're gonna stop now because we have some really great questions to move on to. In answer to your question though, Ratchet, yeah, we like Pokemon, but Digimon's cool. I'm gonna try to get into it down the line because they're releasing some good games for it.
Yeah.
So, Austin Grump asks, how does school affect the process of playing games and videos? And we had a question that actually tied into this, which comes from Bulimic Walrus, asking, how do you handle the stresses of a college student, especially as a first semester student, which is like the first part of your college year? I don't know if you have semesters in Australia, but
We do have semesters.
okay,
but,
so yeah.
So probably you start because you'll talk about the school side and I can really talk about like the work side because it's kind of, I guess, related.
Yeah. So, the answer to both these questions, like how does school affect the process of playing and making videos, but also how do I handle the stresses of a college student, is for me, I'm not crazy strict on a schedule. I like to have flexibility, but I do have, for me, set recording days. And so what I'll do is usually Friday, because for me, I have hockey every Thursday night, and then every other Saturday night I have hockey. So like every other week, I mean. So what I'll do is on Fridays, I'll usually record in bulk. I'll do all my voiceovers.
Yeah.
And if I'm feeling it, I'll try to edit as many videos out as I can. And then from there, and this is a common thing that I actually learned from Kind of Funny, because they do all their recording in a weekend, is, just record it all and try to get your work done over the weekend. Schedule and the upload during the week. Now you have a whole week open to make more videos of news drops and rearrange your uploads, which is why some people, for example, my video as we record today on Saturday, for me, I dropped a video about my most anticipated games, but I mentioned Divinity Original Sin 2, which is already out in early access now, and I also mentioned how my Nuclear World review was coming out that night, which is because it was such a delayed video. But that's what I'm saying. I scheduled that video, and then there were so many news updates coming out that I kept reworking this upload later and later and later, thinking I'd eventually get it out. But yeah, that's how I handle playing games, because I need to make time to play these games because it's a core part of my channel. I have to stay up to date on games. I also have to review games. So I have to make sure I have time to play them. I also have to make sure I have time for school. So that's why on Fridays, I'll usually I have Fridays off from school. So usually what I'll do is Friday's another work day, all recording, all editing. And usually around like 11 at night, I'm done. And then I have Saturday up from until the next Friday to do whatever I want, whether it's hang out with friends, study, homework, more games, whatever. And also, like I said, I have to make time for hockey too. And that has worked beautifully for me because it is honestly, like, I'm doing amazing in school right now, better than I ever have in my entire life, because I have a structured, like, okay, I record today. Okay, I have hockey today. So for me, I get home at 4 on Thursdays, and then my hockey game's I got to leave at 7. So, or around 6:30 actually. So in between that time, I get Spanish homework each week. So I do my Spanish homework right in between there. Even though I'd like to get home, just kick up my feet and chill before the game, I get home, I do my Spanish homework right until I leave for New Jersey. So, and that's what I do. You got to apply yourself. One way to handle the stresses of college, this is the easiest way to pass any class. High school, college, do your fucking homework. I learned that so late. I learned it so late. Just take the time, do your homework. And honestly, you won't, I'm just saying this because sometimes school comes easy to me. Yeah. I know, Lone, you're more of I won't say a bookworm, I guess, but you'll put your head in the books way longer.
I'm a nerd, let's be honest.
No, I'm saying you'll put your head in the books way longer than I probably would.
Yeah.
But for me, if you don't like studying, doing your homework not only keeps your grade up, but it also prevents you from having to put your head in the books for hours on end.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're engaging with that work. You're becoming familiar with it. Also, asking questions. Literally, if you're in college, you have every right, because you're paying to be there. Stop the teacher after class if you don't want to ask during class.
Yeah.
And just ask them, and they will catch you up just like that.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the best answer for definitely people that are just starting at university or college or wherever you are, what it's called, is try and stick to a schedule. And the reason why it worked for me, even though at times, it doesn't always work and you don't always stick to the schedule specifically, but for me, the reason why schedule is so important, one, because it keeps you focused and you have things that you need to get done in the week and you can get them done and you can keep a track of your progress, right? But also as well,
pardon me,
when I don't have a schedule, sometimes I'll feel like, fuck, I don't feel like I'm doing anything. I don't feel like I'm being efficient enough. I don't think like I'm being productive enough. But when you have a schedule and you can like cross out things as you finish things on a schedule or a list, it makes you feel really good and really productive to get to the end of a week and say, yes, I got that done, that done, that done, that done, and now I have these to go. So it's not only in terms of being really a really good way to structure your life, pardon the pun, but it also makes you feel a lot better because it feels like you're keeping on top of things and you're not drowning. So that's the important thing that I'll say about a schedule. For me, in university, it might have been a bit different than Maddie because I studied a subject, law, which it's not necessarily hard. There's a lot of reading, and that's where the bulk of the study comes from. So I kind of had to keep on top of my case readings and all of that. So I was kind of forced to do a lot of reading and a lot of study every week. Again, not necessarily because it's hard or because you need to be super smart or anything. It's just like there's a lot to get through. But keeping that schedule is really important. And I started to do YouTube when I was in my second last year of university. So I'll be honest, it was kind of hard to do YouTube because when I get home from university, the thing that I want to do is just go home and play games. But now I've got to think, shit, I've got to make this Fallout 4 news update. I'm like at work or at university and news drops. I'm like, shit, I feel like I can't do this because I'm at university. So it was tough. But the best thing to do is just to try and keep to a schedule. That's honestly the best advice that I could give to anyone. And it's the thing that I'm trying to do now, given that I have a full-time job and still trying to upload videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, it's like you don't have to, I'm not saying you do, but I don't go gung-ho where I like write shit down and stuff. Like for me, it's I just have set days. I know which day is which. So it's like, okay, Monday's kind of the Monday if I have math homework or statistics rather.
Yeah.
Right when I get home, I'll just do that and just get it out of the way. Because for me, I don't like having homework loom over my head anymore, so I get it done right away. Especially while the lesson's fresh in my head, just get it done. Because then
just delaying things is the worst because you're gonna have to do it anyway, right?
Yeah, and I don't have statistics until Wednesday, so I have that done with because then Tuesday is my long day. And I know this isn't a crazy long school day for people. But in college, I'm usually there for like 2 hours, but instead I'm there from 11 to 4. So that's like a decent length day for a college student. And so that's my long day. So I don't want to have any extra math homework looming over my long day if I have more of that, which I want to get done before Thursday so that I can do my Spanish homework before my game so that my weekends are open to record and then play games during the week. And mind you, I'm making it sound like I'm incredibly busy. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're able to just focus in class, apply yourself, and do your homework, literally it probably less than an hour of my day will go to homework, if anything. And it's like complex long-term homework, but it's just that I know what the fuck I'm doing because I'm paying attention. It's that simple. I still though, while we're talking about school and shit, I still say if you're feeling overwhelmed and it's the right time, mental health day. I still stand by that. Even as a passing A student, I will still say that. Thank you very much.
Every now and again, no, seriously, every now and again, if you want to take a day off or whatever, do it. I mean, people chuck sickies at work all the time because they just feel like can't be bothered to go into work today. I'm going to chuck a sickie. I've done it in the past. I haven't done it with my current job, but it does happen, right? So I definitely won't say, don't do it. You're the devil. You're Satan's spawn if you take your school off. But
I know what you mean.
No, yeah. So again, structure is important. And as Maddie said, don't put off your homework or whatever. Just get it done because, first of all, when you have homework or stuff looming over your head, it's the worst thing. Like, even if you're like, all right, I'm going to play this game for 2 hours, right? And then do my homework. At the back of your mind, as you're playing the game, you're thinking, shit, I got to get this homework done. But if you do the homework first, and then you play the game, you're like, shit, yeah, I did my homework. Now I can just play the game.
Yeah,
that feeling is so much better. You're going to enjoy the game so much more.
I know. That's exactly what I was going to say, is because since I'm trying to push my review game forward, I'm trying to make sure all my attention is on the game, all its intricacies. And if I have in the back of my head, I got to do statistics, I got to do whatever, Spanish, I can't focus fully on the game and what's happening. And that means I can't properly review it. So for me, part of the reason, I have such a structured schedule now is because I need to have the focus on my job. In order to have the focus on my job, I need to have my homework done. So yesterday, after a full day of recording and editing, I am beat. I want to just kick my feet up and play Overwatch, but I decided to do my math project, and I got it done with, even though it's due next Wednesday, because I might be reviewing Forza Horizon 3. So why not get that?
It's such a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, and now I know my schedule until Wednesday when it comes to statistics is clear. So now I know that the only day I have to worry about homework is Tuesday, which is really relieving. So now I'm free, and I have all my videos done for the week, believe it or not, which is an awesome occurrence to have happen where I can get most of my week's videos done. And then I'm just good to go, where I have homework time, I have game time, I have family time, friend time, so on.
Yeah.
And if you think I'm like the only YouTuber who schedules a week's worth of videos in advance, you'd be fucking surprised.
Oh, fucking dude. Sometimes I and other YouTubers will schedule 2 weeks in advance. Like, seriously. That's the whole reason for having a delayed upload on YouTube. So you can.
Because some people will view it as like, I know people who are listening this far don't, but I'm saying some people will be like, oh, he just schedules a week in advance so he can fucking be lazy all week. It's like, no.
What?
No, I've seen people, they're like, oh, he makes quick, not about me, but I've seen people say like to other YouTubers who make like roughly my length videos, like 5 to 7 minute videos, which they take time to make, especially depending on how much you edit them, which I heavily edit my videos, really. Like even the gameplay, I'll just fade to different parts of the gameplay because I feel like if something's moving, it's keeping you intrigued. Or if you're watching if you're watching that same strand of gameplay for like more than, I'd say, I have like a minute and a half cutoff time. At that point, it's like, okay, I got to switch to a new point in the gameplay, like new areas, something different.
If you like pause your game and like you have that in the recording.
yeah, exactly. When people do that, I'm like, dude, I am triggered. Transition that shit.
Edit out the pause. It's boring.
Yeah, I know. And also a thing I've been adding in is like pictures and sound effects to match up with stuff.
Add pictures. It's good.
Yeah, this is, if you new YouTubers out there want a key tip, major key alert here. Okay, moving objects. That's what I say. Things, whenever, if there's stuff moving on screen, your video will keep your viewer watching, and viewer retention on YouTube is important. So whenever you have a chance to throw in a picture, when you're talking about something, visually represent that, whether it's in video or picture format.
Yeah.
If you don't, you will know in the back of your head, you're like, I could do the extra effort here. And that's why for me it takes so long to edit videos now. Usually I'd be done so fast, probably a year and a half ago. But now I'm adding so much shit to my videos because I'm trying to improve that quality and push things forward that, it takes way longer to make these.
And it just makes the end product look so much better, in my opinion. Like, I don't know, I keep talking about game theory, but have you seen the editing on those videos? I mean, if it was just like straight gameplay and he was doing the exact same audio commentary, it would not be as good.
Nah, it's not. They have fantastic animators and stuff there.
They have a guy solely dedicated to doing the editing, and he does an amazing job.
Oh, yeah. Our last question comes from Parzival0219. He asks, thoughts on MMOs? Which is your favorite? Now, I can answer the which is your favorite. You said you haven't played much, which is why I thought this would still be a good question, because you could talk about your thoughts on the MMOs.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not really an MMO guy. Like, I never really got into them. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like the idea of playing a game, playing it with your friends in this immersive world, and then just playing for a very, very long period of time. It's just that nowadays, my focus, because I only have limited time, is playing games that you can get done in 10 to 15 or 20 hours and then move on. I mean, games like Warcraft or whatever that...
Jeez. Huge.
Like, you're dedicating large parts of your life to it. I mean, people will play that game for like years and years and every day for hours on end. And I just can't... I'm just not ready to make that commitment, baby.
Yeah, no, for real though. That's the thing is that it's like not even a attention span thing. It's just for me, there are very few games. Like I'd say Overwatch is the first game in a long while that I could keep replaying for a very long time.
Even then, with Overwatch is a game, you play a game and you can leave. You can't do that with an MMO.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like it takes, for me, just like you said, it takes dedication to that game where you got to commit to it. Or even ESO, which is arguably my favorite MMO right now, in answer to that question.
Yeah,
I don't play too often because it's such a dedication. There's so many quests, and for me, maybe if I wasn't a YouTuber,
maybe, yeah,
I would be able to dedicate to a game for a while and just play that one game, which is one thing that a lot of people don't realize is as a YouTuber, I think a key to success is to remain current.
Yes.
On what games are coming out, and you got to play them or just watch videos on them, something. I think the best way to learn about them and inform yourself is obviously playing them. You can read all the wiki articles you want and stuff. That's not going to do the full thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a big commitment. So, you know, as a YouTuber, you try to stay current, and sometimes you can't commit to games as long as possible, which is why I'm such a big fan of Overwatch, is because despite my commitment to all these other games, I'm still going back to Overwatch because I enjoy it that much. That's why it's such a big deal to me personally.
Yeah.
But as for a favorite MMO of all time, I'm going to be totally honest. RuneScape. I played RuneScape growing up so much. That really helped shape a lot of my love for role-playing and stuff. I really liked RuneScape. I don't care what anyone says. I think a lot of people still will admit that RuneScape was the shit at one point.
Yeah.
You know, that I just, there's so many memories buried in that game for me. You know, I remember getting banned. I remember getting my account hacked.
What did you do?
I think I cursed someone out. I remember ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who played RuneScape, I was the man who got tricked. Okay, I got tricked and I gave out my password to someone who told me they'd make me rich.
Oh, Maddie.
Because I was a young, impressionable kid. Gave him my password, and I went on my second account and watched him go into my bank and take my shit and then transfer it. And I said, like, I remember lying to him. I'm like, I'm a moderator for Jagex. I will get you banned. Leave my account right now. I was trying so hard to trick this guy. He took all my shit. So much devious behavior was also dug into that game. I remember one of my friends hacked his brother's account and like we split his shit.
Oh no, you're an asshole. You deserve to get hacked.
No, this is pre. Yeah, so like I did deserve to get hacked after that clean slate, bro. But you know, dude, RuneScape was so fun. Going PvPing in the wild. Before they put that line in the sand, I call it, where you had to jump into the wild because people were like, oh, I'm running into the wild and getting killed. It was so cool, though, dude. I loved how there wasn't a line originally, because what would happen is you'd have like a bunch of level 3s who would just like tease. They'd just run out into the wild and then run back, and these level 100s would be trying to like whip their asses real quick and and rank up their kill count and stuff. And I really want to play RuneScape now, dude. Oh my god.
Go play, Maddie. Nothing's stopping you. I'm sure it still has an active community.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Yeah.
RuneScape will never die. It's a great game. Heroes never die. Oh, I gotta go play
Heroes
Overwatch.
never
Let's
die.
wrap this up.
Alrighty. That was a great podcast.
Yeah, it was.
It was a good discussion on ClickBait.
Yeah, it was. So thank you to everyone who listened to the entirety of episode 76 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast. Noah will be back next week, so that's good news for everyone who has missed him. I know a lot of people have been asking about him. Once again, just for those of you who may have forgotten or not, that's what we're working with right now, where it's basically the cast right now is myself, Lone, Carrick, Noah.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to try to do from now on and try to build going forward. So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, leave your feedback in the comments down below. Lone, do you have any final words?
No, just I'm yawning. I don't know why. I'm losing my mind. I'm so tired.
Well, yeah, no, I know as these podcasts get longer, I start like stuttering, or I'll start losing my train of thought because I'm talking at a wall. I have nothing on my screen.
Chair for an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah, like we're not complaining about our jobs, but it's just like there's nothing engaging my mind. I'm not looking at Lone's face where like I'm having an actual conversation.
I'm literally looking of this one wallpaper of Sub-Zero just staring back at me.
Yeah, I have just a white wall. I mean, I have Fallout posters and shit, but it's like where I look at my microphone and stuff, it's just a white wall. So I'll be talking, I'll be like, yeah, and I've done it so many times.
Oh, brilliant.
Anyway.
Anyways, guys, peace. Thank you for joining, and hope to see you next week.
Yeah, take care of yourself, guys.